Whatever rocks your socks, whatever spins your top, whatever winds your watch, whatever flips your flop, whatever turns you on, whatever flies your flag, whatever bangs your gong, or whatever swings your bag. Do it often, but do it well, 'cause nobody knows and there's no way to tell when the ride ends.
Jacques, my boy, Hippolyte was telling me. Jacques. I was getting the idea that old Hip had something he wanted to say, and chances were it wasn't how much he admired my judgment. And I was right. We were sitting in a back booth at Shaky Jake's, 2 beers and some peanuts on the table in front of us. I had just finished explaining why my hand was bleeding. Jacques, you are too uptight. You know? Whoa, slow down. You got to learn to relax. Relax? They shoot my typewriter. They almost shoot me. And the police figure I must be a drug smuggler. Why else is everybody trying to kill me? Moo needs money. Her cousins need money. Granny's got asthma. Our lane is full of tape vendors. The landlord says he's going to double our rent at the end of the year. I'm going nuts. I need a smoke. And you tell me to relax. Hippolyte, give me a cigarette, please. Hip was a real friend, and he did not give me a smoke without first telling me I was a shithead. But he did give it to me, and I wolfed it down in about 3 drags, so he gave me another one as well. Bald pate sunburned to the color of stained mahogany and fringed with a halo of graying hair. Hip wore dark granny glasses and habitually spoke in a soft mutter from the depths of a luxuriant white beard. He had been around since the Vietnam days. If you saw him sitting there and didn't know better, you would probably have figured he was blind. He worked at being deaf as well, and you generally had to holler at him to get his attention. Hippolyte Lafleur had this talent for self-effacement. Hip blended in with the woodwork of one low-life establishment or another, to all appearances, to the extent he could be said to appear at all, a burnt-out case waiting to die in his shabby jeans and sneakers and counterfeit Lacoste polo shirts. Blind and deaf and acutely sensitive to everything that everybody did or said. He ordered more beer. Also, he got some colas for Boom and Mon, 2 of Shaky Jake's finest, who were sitting either side of him waiting to get their fortunes told. No matter how self-effacing he could be, Hip was not averse to having charming young ladies in skimpy costumes sit close to him, only as a warm-up to reading their palms, free of charge. He was also reading considerable areas of their bodies. But like I said, Hip was a pal, and he unhanded these specimens for a minute and took hold of my own mitt instead. Hip cast an expert eye over my palm, and he said, "One thing, yeah? I see you've never done a decent day's work in years, if ever. Whoa, that's right. And you don't want to go around hitting any naklang, any tough guys, or any bosses either with this hand, unless for some reason you want it broken." Hippolyte Lafleur was a fortune teller and a notorious know-it-all. This latter accomplishment could be annoying, since it often turned out that he was right. Hippolyte was loved, even held in awe, by the bar girls of the city. Not only was he a Maudu, a seer of some repute, he took a personal interest in their problems. He had a way of reading their love lives as though these chronicles were written all over their palms in 30-point bold. It didn't matter. that most of his predictions had to do with meeting nice foreign men and coming into sudden money. And of course, it was uncanny how he would sometimes see illness in the family when you considered that these upcountry girls had more relatives than hard luck stories. And statistically speaking, one of them would just about have to have been sick at any given time. On top of that, Hip's Thai was almost fluent, and the girls would tell him all their gossip. So it might not have been surprising if every now and then he came up with a startlingly accurate piece of personal news for a client.
But I don't have to read your palm to see you've got a problem, my friend. So what are you going to do about it?
I told him what Moo had told me. She said I had been causing influential people and dark influences to lose face left and right. Chances were, if only you could believe her, half the contents of Who's Who in Thailand were gunning for me already.
I hate to tell you this, Jack, said Hip, but with your attitude, it could be just about anybody and everybody who is after your ass. Whoa! Maybe a whole bunch of people pass the hat and it's like a collective hit.
For Christ's sake, this is no joke, Hip. Somebody's out to get me.
Whoa, calm down. Maybe it's a mistake. That's it. This could be one of those business conflicts you're always reading about. And you look exactly like some guy who made $1 million and somebody else figures it is really his $1 million.
Yeah, that's probably it. There's some rich Thai who's a dead ringer for me.
It could be anybody. Look, Jacques, I'll tell you the truth, and you don't have to be a model to see which way the wind is blowing. It doesn't have to be some big shot with a grudge who does you in. You keep on like you are. You mess with the tape vendors, and now you throw the bus conductor's money all out in the street, even though this individual is only doing what bus conductors in Bangkok always do. Who are you to change the rules of the game?
Hip got this look. The same look he put on when he was going to tell a fortune. He leaned closer.
As you know, Jacques, our bodies and our minds move in rhythms. There are all kinds of influences that can affect our state of mind and our happiness. Nobody understands these things too good. The fact remains, there are these cycles and things, and if you can get in tune with them, life goes better. That much is common knowledge.
It could have been news to his two charming companions, though, the way they were hanging on his every word. Understanding, I would have said, not more than a couple of these words, yet impressed by the sheer gravity of his manner.
What some people don't know is that some of these rhythms are part of culture. You get these ways of doing things set up by people living and working together over generations. Every culture has its own harmonies and rhythms, and these might not seem obvious to somebody from another background. They're often not obvious to the people in the culture either, no more noticeable than the beating of the blood in their own veins. Are you with me? Whoa! But then you put somebody from a different culture in there. All of a sudden, it's like you've got somebody doing the funky chicken in the middle of everybody's nice votes. And that's you, Jacques. You're doing the funky chicken when everybody around you is cheek to cheek.
Hiu cow, said Boom. Chan doi. Mon slid her hand inside Hip's shirt and told him, Gai tot, na?
I like you, Jacques, or I wouldn't ask you this. Are you sure you want to stay here in Thailand? It may be this country isn't too good for you when all is said and done. You know?
I did try to adjust. What was he talking about? I was learning some Thai. I practiced my Jiayen, my cool heart, all the time. I did these maintaining my cool exercises every day, not only to make Moo happy, but also to bring my blood pressure down. It hurt me to hear my friend Hip talk this way. I had to admit it. So I told him to piss off. I wasn't leaving. Hip fixed me with his most opaque gaze and spoke to me in his softest, profoundest tones.
Jacques, 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 he said. You take my advice. Calm down and think about what you're doing. You are cruising for a bruising if you're not careful. Whoa! You don't have to be a fortune teller to see this.
Thanks, Hip. I will try to sidestep this bruising. He was ordering more drinks as I left.
So who's this guy? I don't like the looks of him.
Huh? Oh, no. Dude, you want Tim Newton today. I know it seems like you'd fit in here, but, yeah, this isn't the place. You want to go look at Tim Newton today.
Yeah, we don't do politics over here. We're about sex, drugs, rock and roll, and literature.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, I understand. It's an easy mistake. Yeah, Tim Newton today. Tell Tim Steve said hi. He probably won't remember me. That was weird.
Yeah, takes all kinds, I guess.